Are you falling for gut health myths without even realizing it? So, from things like all the hype around probiotics to gut bacteria or stomach acid, today I want to uncover the truth behind the most common misconceptions. And in this episode, I'll be busting 5 of the most common gut health myths to help you separate what's fact and what's fiction and help you take control of your digestive health with confidence. So stay tuned. Hey friend, welcome to Gut Fix. Are you ready to finally get rid of those debilitating digestive symptoms? Do you catch yourself staying up late Googling things like, what can I eat? Or how do I stop a flare? Or maybe you're just lying awake wondering, how did this ever happen to me? I'm Wendy, and I've been exactly where you are, desperately searching for answers, but determined to find natural solutions. And like you, I was overwhelmed by all the conflicting information out there and unsure of what might really work for me. And so now in this podcast, I'm here to share with you what I've learned, how to listen to your body's signals, and uncover the common mistakes that might be standing in the way of your healing. So grab your favorite drink, pop in your earbuds, and let's dive into your health transformation together. Living with IBD doesn't mean sacrificing your daily life. And that's why I created a free guide that will help you get instant relief wherever you are. It's called IBD Relief on the Go, and it's a step-by-step protocol that's built on the proven system of the Dress for Health Success framework and giving you actionable steps in each key area of diet, rest, exercise, stress management, and supplements. So whether you're at work, you're traveling, or simply on the move, these practical tips will help you manage your symptoms and feel in control of your health. You can download your free guide now in the show notes below, or by going to bit.ly/IBD guide, that's bit.ly/IBD guide, and take the first steps towards an easier on-the-go IBD relief. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Gut Fix. This is episode number 21, and I wanted to break down 5 of the more common misconceptions about gut health out there, and kind of give you some insight into what really is the truth. You know, there's a lot of information out there. There's actually an explosion of gut health advice online, and so it's easy to feel overwhelmed and even misinformed. And so I really wanted to kind of give you a little bit of inside scoop on some of these misconceptions that are out there. And so, you know, these are evidence-based data so that you get better choices in your health decisions. And so if you've ever believed any of these, I want you to think about, while you're listening to this, what your aha moment is about what you hear. And so let's dive in. So myth number 1, that probiotics are a cure-all. The claim out there is that if you just take a probiotic, then all your gut problems will disappear. And the truth is that probiotics can be helpful, certainly, for different conditions like IBS. Also, you know, if you've been using antibiotics and you have antibiotic-associated diarrhea, for example, they can certainly help bring your gut microbiome back in balance, but they're not a universal solution. And the other thing is there's specific strains, and you know, without knowing, there's so many different bacteria in your gut, good and bad. And, you know, without knowing what you're either deficient in or maybe have too much of, just throwing an antibiotic at it, or excuse me, a probiotic at it, you don't really know what you're throwing at. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. It's like if you were something goes wrong with your car, for example, you wouldn't just like all of a sudden start putting oil in it and, oh, that didn't work. So you put some transmission fluid in it and, oh, that didn't work. I mean, you wouldn't do that. You would have it diagnosed, right? Same thing with your body. I mean, you definitely want to know what's going on in your gut before you start throwing things at it, because you could actually do more harm than good. And so instead of doing, if you're not going to get tested, instead of, just kind of throwing a probiotic at it, focus on a very balanced diet that's rich in prebiotics and fiber and probiotic foods like your yogurt, your kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut. Those are all good for long-term gut health. But definitely, if you've got issues, get it tested. Why not take a stool test and figure out exactly what is going on in your gut? And then myth number 2 is that acid reflux is caused by too much stomach acid. And this one's a tough one because we have been, I'll say, brainwashed, I guess, over, forever, as long as I can remember, that, if you have, acid reflux, you take an antacid, right? Well, the problem is that actually too much stomach acid is very, very rare. Most people, have been led to believe that heartburn or acid reflux is caused by too much acid, but it's very rare. And it actually is caused by a mechanical issue in a lot of cases, like a weakened lower esophageal sphincter. But it's often also caused by low stomach acid. And when the stomach acids are very low, food remains in the stomach undigested because it can't help break it down for very long periods of time. And that causes pressure that pushes that acid upward and gives you that acid reflux. And, overuse of antacids or PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, can even worsen the issue because they're going to further reduce those acid levels. And that can potentially lead to even nutrient deficiencies and microbiome imbalances. And so it's very rare that it's caused by too much stomach acid. And some of the things that you can do if you think you have low stomach acid, and by the way, as we age and get older, we do lose some of that stomach acid. That's just kind of a natural thing, like other things that we lose as we get older, right? So some of the things that you can focus on are making sure that you chew your food very thoroughly to stimulate that digestion. Kind of keep yourself mindful while you're eating. I don't know about you, but there's been times when I've been very anxious or upset about something and I'm eating and I can actually feel myself almost inhaling my food. And that is not a good thing especially if you have low stomach acid. And that's another thing too, is you can be tested for your stomach acid. Avoid drinking, large amounts of water during meals because that can also dilute that stomach acid. And you can try incorporating things like apple cider vinegar, like a tablespoon of that, or some lemon water before meals. And even sometimes first thing when you wake up in the morning, some warm lemon water is kind of helpful to get that stomach acid moving. And eat smaller meals, maybe more frequent meals, just to help reduce the pressure on the stomach. But you always want to check with your healthcare provider too on what's right for you because everybody's different for sure. And then myth number 3, that all bacteria is bad. And, the claim out there is that the goal to good gut health is to eliminate bacteria. And the myth is that bacteria causes disease, right? But there are good bacteria and there are bad bacteria in there. Your gut microbiome is made up of trillions of microorganisms. And it's bacterias, it's fungi, it's viruses, it's other microbes that collectively form and are known as the gut microbiome. And they're not invaders, but they're actually essential to helping maintain your health. And so some of the key benefits of bacteria are they help break down complex carbohydrates and fibers that your body can't digest on their own. And so that'll help by producing short chain fatty acids that will actually fuel those gut cells. And then immunity. So it actually also trains the immune system to differentiate between what's harmful and harmful substances and reducing inflammation to protect against pathogens, actually. And then, too, the other thing is mental health. because it produces neurotransmitters like your serotonin, which does contribute to that gut-brain connection. And it can definitely influence your mood and even your cognition. And so what you want to make sure of is to foster a very healthy gut microbiome is to focus on those fermented foods that are naturally rich in probiotics. And like we talked about the fermented foods, the kimchi and the sauerkraut, and then prebiotic foods. They're also essential for feeding and maintaining that beneficial bacteria. So you want to get plenty of fiber. That's your prebiotics, is a lot of fiber in there. Most of us don't get enough fiber. That's just something that we typically don't get enough of. And, the goal of good gut health isn't to eliminate bacteria. That's the myth, right? It's to cultivate and maintain a thriving microbiome. A good balanced gut ecosystem will not only support your digestion, but it also, like I said before, boosts your immunity, enhances your mental well-being through that gut-brain connection, and contributes to your overall vitality. And then myth number 4 is that your gut health only affects your digestion and nothing else. And that's just really oversimplification of what the gut is and its overall health. And, digestion is a core function of the gut. It influences and extends far beyond breaking down food, though. It's again, just like we talked about, the impact on your immunity. Your 70% of your immune system is in your gut. And your mental health through that gut-brain connection. We talked about that on a previous episode. It even affects your skin. If you've ever heard the saying of what's showing on the outside is what's going on the inside. Well, that's your skin. If your skin is good and clear and you look good, that means you probably have a pretty good balanced gut. If you have issues with your skin, well, you might have some issues with your gut. And so, some of the things that you can do with that is to boosting your think of it as your gut as the control center for your overall health, if you will. I mean, it really kind of is it is kind of the control center of your health. And think about it as you're boosting your immunity, you're keeping your mental health and your emotional well-being at bay. You're enhancing your skin clarity and your resilience, and you're even regulating hormones and reducing systemic inflammation when you're fostering your gut, a healthy gut. And then myth number 5 is that if you don't have digestive symptoms, then your gut is healthy. No bloating, no issues, right? Wrong. The common misconception that leads people to believe that there isn't anything and that they aren't experiencing obvious digestive problems like bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, that their gut health must be in great shape, right? But just like we talked about, it impacts so much more than just digestion. And so some of the common non-digestive symptoms of poor gut health that might show up for you are fatigue. And your gut influences energy levels because it does support your nutrient absorption and it helps regulate your blood sugar. And if your gut isn't functioning optimally, it can lead to nutrient deficiencies like B vitamins, iron, and can lead to, chronic fatigue or, feeling fatigued a lot. And a disrupted gut microbiome can also contribute to mitochondrial dysfunction, which, if you've been hearing about that a lot lately, that will further deplete your energy levels. And then brain fog, that gut-brain axis, connecting the gut and the brain together, can cause brain fog. It can cause cognitive function to be off. And it can lead to that inflammation, which affects, inflammation affects your mental clarity, your focus, and your memory. And then we talked about skin issues. So poor gut health, especially if you have leaky gut, that allows toxins and inflammatory molecules to enter into your bloodstream. And that can trigger skin issues like, acne or eczema or even rosacea. And so that can really lead to that inflammation, and that shows up in the skin. If you get sick a lot, that can be, dysbiosis weakens the immune system. And so you might be, every time you get around somebody with a cold, you catch it, or, infections, sinus infections, even things like that. Chronic inflammation does stem from poor gut health that can impair the body's ability to fight off these pathogens. And then even hormonal imbalances. So the gut helps to metabolize and eliminate excess hormones, things like estrogen. And when the gut is compromised, it can definitely lead to hormonal imbalances and symptoms like mood swings or even weight fluctuations. And so even joint pain. There's so many things that can be actually traced back to gut health. And so it's the cornerstone, like I said, of your overall well-being, gut health. And even if you don't have digestive symptoms, your gut still could be struggling, and you still might be experiencing those issues like fatigue and brain fog and frequent illnesses and things, skin issues. And so, what do you do about all this stuff? Well, you focus on a very gut-friendly diet. So eating a very diverse, fiber-rich diet that'll nourish the good and beneficial bacteria. Incorporating those fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut. Avoiding overusing those antibiotics and any other unnecessary medications, like even over-the-counter medications like NSAIDs and things like that, can also very much disrupt your gut microbiome. And then, managing your stress, because stress can definitely negatively impact the gut microbiome, and especially for those with IBD. That can be a very key and maybe one of the main triggers of a flare is excess stress. And so just really focusing on, keeping your stress at bay. I mean, it's hard. There's no way you're ever going to get around stress. It's just a part of life. But, there's things that you can do to kind of manage it, if you will. And make sure that you stay hydrated. That'll help to support the whole digestion and your detoxification at the same time. And, listen, don't just pay attention to digestive symptoms, but consider your energy levels, what your skin's looking like, your mood, and your overall well-being. And then, consider functional lab tests for the gut health, your stool tests, microbiome testing. They can reveal imbalances or even in the absence of any digestive symptoms that you might have. And so, I hope this was helpful. The key takeaways here are, really honestly, if you do feel like you have any of these issues, it's best to test. And if it's just a gut test or a stool test or a microbiome test, they can be very beneficial in helping to get some of these other symptoms at bay. It might not be the only thing going on, but it's a great place to start because it really is at the core of your overall health, is in your gut. And so I hope this episode was insightful. I hope maybe you had an aha or two as we were going through these, and I'd love your comments if there was something that you heard that maybe you didn't know before, and if you feel like this would be something that somebody that could use this information, please share it by all means. And remember, when it comes to gut health, you always, and you're listening out there, always consider the source of where it's coming from and make sure that you're getting good advice from somebody who's trained. So thanks for today. I look forward to next week. And in the meantime, stay happy and stay healthy. Hey friend, I hope today's episode brought you some real value. If it did, would you take just 30 seconds to share it with a friend who might be struggling to get her gut in check? And if you're feeling extra generous, leave me a review on Apple. It absolutely lights me up knowing that this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to grab my protein shake and get my gut happy. I'll see you back here next Tuesday for another episode of Gut Fix. And until then, stay happy and stay healthy.